23:59. Happy 10th anniversary, girlfriend. Under Erick's handsome face and our friend's eager stares, I made a wish over the candlelight. Midnight. Erick couldn't wait, but was still gentle as he removed the crown tangled in my hair, not pulling a single strand. His peach blossom eyes curved into a flirtatious smirk. Happy breakup, ex-girlfriend. Cheers instantly erupted throughout the private room. The annual event. Congrats, Erick. Single again. Place your bets. Team Reconcile over here. Team Move On with Oliver over there. Amid the flashing lights and drunken laughter, I sat quietly, as if none of it had anything to do with me. As Erick passed by with his arm around Sophia's slim waist, he reminded me softly. Same rules, 1 month. I pressed gently on the dull ache in my lower abdomen, showing no expression. Erick, this time the deadline is forever. I'm getting married. To anyone, just not you. Chapter 1. The violently shaken champagne shot high into the air. Everyone in the room went wild. They were celebrating my boyfriend's return to singlehood. Just seconds earlier, I had been the center of attention, making a wish. Now, I faded quietly into the shadows. No one even glanced my way. Erick never liked parties like this. His party animal friends always had to beg him to come. That's why the once-a-year breakup day became such a spectacle. Erick and I met in college. He was the campus prince with money and looks. I was the rising star in the design scene. Youth is volatile and flammable. Our love exploded across campus like fireworks. But after a while, it faded. Someone always grows tired first. On our 4th anniversary, I made a wish. After a long silence, Erick said, "Lisa, we've been together 4 years. Aren't you tired?" I stared at him in confusion, only seeing the swirl at the crown of his black hair, deep, like it could suck someone in. He hugged me tightly, gently rubbing my arm. He coaxed softly, to avoid the 7-year itch. Let's break up for 1 month after every anniversary. No interference. If either of us finds someone more suitable, the other gives their blessing. If not, we get back together after a month. I stood up in panic, knocking over the cake we'd decorated together. The colorful frosting splattered across the floor like a rushed oil painting. His arms were suddenly empty. Erick clenched his hands awkwardly but still insisted. Okay? Maybe I was just too shocked. My limbs felt numb, but I was proud too. Sure. Seeing me agree, Erick's body instantly relaxed. During that month apart, I watched him constantly, tracked every girl near him. Did they hold hands? Hug? Kiss? Every little detail felt like a final snowflake tipping the avalanche. The mental pressure was overwhelming. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, crying uncontrollably. On those worst nights, I called him. He always picked up right away. Never scolded me for calling. Never told me I was interfering. He just spoke gently, telling silly bedtime stories to lull me to sleep. Lisa, do you think 1 month is too long? The next day, 3 days before the deadline, we got back together. On our 5th anniversary, I thought he wouldn't bring it up again, but I was wrong. Now it's our 10th year, and it's been like this every single time. He insists on a full 30 days every year, not 1 minute less. It's even become a popular event in our social circle. People place bets on it every year. Odds of getting back together, 1 to 1. Odds of never getting back together, 1 to 100. Nicole suddenly sat beside me. Lisa, what did you wish for? My wish was to never see him again. Chapter 2. Nicole was Erick's first 1-month girlfriend. It only lasted 27 days. The innocent girl had unknowingly stepped into our twisted breakup game. When she found out the truth, she felt betrayed. To make up for it, Erick brought her into our circle. Over the years, that once invisible girl from a small town had grown dazzling and radiant. I picked up my glass of water and toasted her lightly. I didn't wish for anything. Oliver passed by singing Happy Breakup, winking playfully. Bet she wished Erick wouldn't get snatched up by some hot chick this month and would run right back to her arms. Am I right, sis-in-law? Nicole shooed him off and turned back to me with a smile. He's looking and so are you. Why make yourself suffer? We're not playing tragic heroine anymore. Remember? I curved my lips and leaned in to whisper by her ear. Bet on not getting back together. Guaranteed win. Nicole's eyes widened in shock. But she didn't get the chance to respond. The room erupted again. Oliver dragged her off to join the commotion. Whoa, look at that! A spotlight hit the center of the room. Erick was dancing a waltz, arm around a girl's pale slender waist. Graceful, focused, flirtatious. It's been what, 5 minutes? Erick's already made his pick. Sis-in-law, you're in danger. Should I switch my bet to team breakup? Wait a sec. Isn't she familiar? She was. It was Zoe, again. Same as last year. Zoe was everything I wasn't, fiery and intense. For me, 1 month meant 4 quiet weeks. Erick walking dogs, shopping, afternoon tea. For her, 1 month was long, packed full of adventure. She took Erick diving, skydiving, chasing every adrenaline rush. The final stop, snow mountain climbing. I lost sleep from worry. Erick wouldn't pick up my calls. I dropped everything and rushed across days and nights to intercept them on Mount Saguniang. You have 0 experience. You can't climb this mountain. Erick twirled his trekking pole, sounding casual. Zoe will protect me. Zoe sneered. Lisa, you're the ex. Don't overstep. It's not like you're his wife. The snowstorm froze my words in my throat, icy and painful. I forgot how to speak. Just stared straight at Erick. He avoided my gaze, turned sideways in silence to let Zoe pass. She smiled under her mask, smug and sharp as a knife. On the way down, I told myself, it was over. I was finally free. But 10 minutes later, Erick caught up with me. Lisa, I'll listen to you. I won't climb. 2 total amateurs, stumbling step by step, finally returned to the base camp, only to find chaos erupting around them. Zoe went off trail skiing, got badly injured. Erick's face changed instantly. He shot me a glare full of blame, then turned back up the mountain. He carried Zoe's stretcher down himself. Her leg was broken, twisted at a horrible angle. She held my hand, crying, Sis, I don't blame you today, but you two broke up. Please stop clinging to him. Disdain, disgust, pitying eyes burned into me. I wished the snow would bury me alive. 9 years of love, and I was the homewrecker. Erick injured his lungs on the mountain too. He's had a chronic cough ever since. Afterward, he waited on Zoe hand and foot. He even carried her into the bathroom, like a princess. Refused to let her suffer even a little. When Nicole told him I'd been hospitalized for a persistent fever, he had just finished bathing Zoe. Both of them flushed from the steam. His words, however, were cold as ice. When did she learn to fake being sick? Besides, she has you guys. Zoe only has me. 3 months. Everyone, even me, thought it was finally over. People on team breakup were ready to pop champagne. Then Erick suddenly broke things off with Zoe and came back to me. Zoe stood outside the door, face ashen. Erick, I'll die without you. Erick told me to go home first. He'd handle her. That night, he pulled me into his arms. His breath burned hot against my ear. Lisa, it takes 100 days to heal a serious injury. I just didn't want to owe her anything. This doesn't count as cheating. You're the wife. I stared out the window. The moon hung like sinking water. I said softly, then let's get married. He turned over and said nothing. Chapter 3. The music quickened, shifting from a waltz to a Viennese waltz. They spun tightly together in the center, Zoe's skirt swirling higher and higher. All these years, she was the first 1-month girlfriend to return. If I was still water, she was boiling oil, always luring Erick into chasing the fire hidden deep within. As the music ended, they looked at each other and burst into laughter. Erick, you kept your word. You really came back for me. What can I say? You told me you couldn't live without me. This is my grand gesture of love. Her tiny fists beat playfully against his chest. The motion tugged at his old injury, and he coughed, eyes red. Zoe reached to rub his back, but Erick gently caught her hand, and suddenly, he dropped to one knee. The noisy, rowdy room fell silent enough to hear a pin drop. Zoe's eyes widened in disbelief. She covered her mouth tightly. The box opened. Inside was a dazzling ring, blue as the sky, framed by rivers of diamonds like scattered stars. The center stone burned as bright as the Milky Way. It stole everyone's breath. Too beautiful, more beautiful than the night sky itself. You once showed me the galaxy from the mountaintop. Today, I've brought it down for you. Zoe cried and nodded again and again, her tears refracted into rainbows against the enormous diamond. I stared at the ring, unable to speak. The crushing gap between expectation and reality smashed my already weary heart into pulp, beyond repair. Suddenly, my stomach twisted violently. The nausea surged uncontrollably. Nicole leaned close. Lisa, are you okay? The churning in my chest and stomach left me speechless. I could only wave her off, clutch the wall, and stumble toward the restroom. The pain blurred my vision. In my daze, it felt like I had gone back to just 1 month ago. It was nearing our anniversary. Erick had been restless, words stuck on his lips. When I asked, he said he wanted me to design a ring. The theme, the galaxy. I kept a calm face, but inside I was bursting with joy. He remembered. He remembered what he said when we saw the aurora years ago, that he would pluck a star down to propose to me. Time was short. I didn't dare waste a second. Sketches, materials, polish, setting. I handled every detail myself. I refused to compromise, even if the auxiliary color was slightly off. I thought I was preparing for my proposal, but in reality, he was preparing to embrace Zoe again. He trampled my love, my memories, my devotion, and gifted it all to her. Miss, are you all right? Do you need to go to the hospital? The voices tugged me back to consciousness. So this was what heartbreak could do. It could literally make someone faint. I thought I had been gone for hours, but it was just a few breaths, a few blinks. I declined their help, inhaled deeply, and walked out toward the main doors. I couldn't breathe the same air in that room any longer. As I passed the private room, they were kissing passionately, surrounded by cheers. Zoe lifted her right hand high, prouder than the Statue of Liberty. I waited half an hour outside, unable to get a cab. Then Erick appeared, carrying Zoe in his arms. The early autumn night wind bit cold. The coat I had picked out for Erick now rested on Zoe's shoulders, freshly broken up. Perhaps he still felt some shame when he saw me. Lisa, her leg hurts. At the last checkup the doctor even scolded me. His words trailed off. He realized his slip. Seeing him like that, my muddled brain finally understood. They had never stopped seeing each other. Their car pulled up first. Erick looked at me. Goodbye. I raised my hand in a wave. Never again. My voice scattered into the wind. And it seemed he didn't hear it at all. Chapter 4. Erick was actually someone who valued routine and order. But for Zoe, he broke his rules again and again. The night we broke up, he never came back. I stayed at home with the cats and dogs, watching sunrises and sunsets. It was peaceful in a way. Time seemed to slow down in that house. Only the things inside it slowly disappeared. Day 5. Erick called to ask what brand his usual razor was. I was cutting up our photos, tens of thousands. My hands were sore, and in the end, I just burned them all. Day 10. He ran out of mouthwash. I was sweeping up broken porcelain, our couple's cups from Jingdajun. Day 15. A courier came to pick up 2 of his ties. I splattered paint all over the portraits I once lovingly painted of him. The frames had once filled half the house. Day 20. He sent flowers from afar for my birthday. I sold our bed. That antique bed that had traveled across oceans. They said a foreign king and queen once made love on it and had 7 or 8 children. Day 30. I called a moving truck to clear out the nursery we once decorated. All the tiny beds and toys were sent to a second-hand market. Just as the truck pulled away, Erick came back. His hair danced in the autumn wind, glowing in the warm light. He opened his arms. Lisa, 1 month as promised. I'm back. Thanks for waiting. But I didn't run into his arms. No tears. No tantrums. He laughed. A little uncertain. So happy you've gone silly. Huh, Lisa? I thought for a moment and replied. No, I wasn't silly. And no, I wasn't waiting for you. His brows furrowed. A flicker of irritation crossed his face. He pushed past me and entered the house. Why does the place feel emptier? Then he spotted the nursery, now completely cleared out. Excited. He walked over. You finally opened this door. I used to ask what was inside and you'd always say a secret. Caught you off guard today, didn't I? What was in here? An entire room full of love letters to me. I couldn't ignore the ache in my chest. Because yes, it used to be full of love letters. The most romantic letters in the world. He walked in and looked around. Huh? Why is it empty? Because it's too late. He offered to cook sweet and sour ribs. His phone rang. In the half-empty house. His ringtone echoed off the walls, and I heard the voice on the other end, static-filled and sobbing. Erick. I cut my wrists. I'll be dead in 20 minutes. Panic washed over his face. I crossed my arms and waited. He said, a life's at stake, I have no choice. A month has 31 days, right? Me going to her now doesn't count as cheating. Lisa, wait for me, please. Just one more day. For her, he would fight for even one more day. I smiled and waved. Goodbye. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second. I would wait no more. No choice? He could have called the police, dialed an ambulance, told a friend or a neighbor to break down the door. But no, he had to rush there himself. I dumped the half-cooked ribs, pot and all, handed the keys to the buyer, dragged my suitcase behind me, and left that place where I had poured out my entire youth. When the plane landed, Erick updated his moments. It was from Zoe's account. Hello everyone. I'm Erick. I love sweet and sour ribs. The photo was his back, sleeves rolled up, cooking in the kitchen. You could just see the toned muscles of his forearms. My lower belly throbbed in pain. At the crowded airport, I crumpled to the ground in agony. Chapter 5. When I woke up, the sharp scent of disinfectant filled my nose. Just as I was registering it, a tall guy burst through the door. The moment he saw my eyes moving, he looked overjoyed. Oh, thank God. You're awake. My reputation is saved. Quick, explain to everyone that we're not dating. The doctors have been yelling at me for ages, saying I knocked up my girlfriend without knowing. Even made you angry enough to miscarry. For real. When you just collapsed in front of me with a thud. I almost had a heart attack, then I realized you'd passed out. So many revelations in just a few lines. My brain couldn't keep up. He waved his large hand in front of my face. Did you go dumb? Doctor. Doctor, she's awake but acting weird. The doctor came in, sighed, and tried to comfort me. You're still young, you'll have more chances. But this boyfriend, maybe find a better one next time. That finally brought me back to my senses. I returned the poor guy his innocence. And his money. Thanked him sincerely. He left beaming, skipping out like he just won the lottery. I lay there, all alone in the snow-white hospital room, slowly chewing and digesting the truth. As the moon rose outside the window, my trembling hand reached to touch my belly. It had been there, and maybe it left because it felt this world was too cold, too absurd. Alicia stormed in. The moment she saw my pale, miserable face, tears rolled down her cheeks. That bastard Erick. How could he treat you like this? Gnashing her teeth, she dialed his number on the spot. The wind was loud on the other end, but his voice still came through with a hint of static. What's up, little mother-in-law? Miss me already? Alicia was fuming. Lisa's in the hospital. Where the hell are you? Erick seemed to panic a little. What? Which hospital? I'll come right. But then, a girl's voice interrupted him. Sweet, bright, naive. Erick, today's our last day together. You promised to stay with me till the sunrise. It's almost here. Zoe. His voice lowered. Little mother-in-law, please take care of Lisa today, okay? You know the rules, 1 month each year. Tomorrow, I'll come apologize myself. I'll even get you both the new designer bags. Don't you? Who the hell wants your bags? Alicia cut the call furiously. She cried even harder after that. I had to comfort her, and found myself oddly amused by the situation. Then my phone lit up. It was from Erick. Lisa, are you feeling okay? Once the sun rises, we can get back together. I can't wait. I miss you. Zoe's not that special. Really, let's stop playing this breakup game, okay? The moon was already high in the sky. Sunrise wasn't far off. The old me would have been tossing and turning by now, heart aching, dreading seeing him with someone else the next day. But the me now? Not waiting. Not 1 second longer. His promises, his rules, they no longer apply to me. Blocked, deleted, free. Erick stared at the red exclamation mark in front of the message. Let's get married. And for the first time, he panicked. Alicia was still sobbing beside me. I tilted my head and asked, by the way, is your brother married? She blinked, her big round eyes still teary. It looked hilarious. She hugged me with joy. Nope, not at all. I never introduce him to anyone, he's such a blockhead. No way he could have a girlfriend. Chapter 6. When Erick realized Zoe had faked her wrist cutting just to lure him over, he was visibly annoyed, but her soft chest pressed against his arm still made his heart falter. His voice cooled. If you ever pull something like this again, don't bother contacting me anymore. Zoe, eyes red, held her wrist up to his face. A thin red line slashed across her pale skin, painfully stark. I really did cut myself. I just didn't dare go too deep. I was afraid I'd never see you again. If I lost you, Erick, I truly wouldn't want to live. A trace of guilt flickered in Erick's eyes. Still, his tone was unforgiving. Next time, buy a sharper knife. Seeing he was angry, Zoe giggled and wrapped her arms around his neck. All right, next time I'll jump from the 50th floor and die for our love, okay? She thought Erick would play along and let things get steamy. But instead, he coldly pulled away and opened the door. Don't joke like that. There's no love between us. We're just using each other. I'm going back to find Lisa. If all goes well, we're getting married this year. Next time you see her, remember to call her sister-in-law. Zoe broke down instantly. She grabbed the fruit knife from the table and pressed it against her own artery. Is she really that great? If you truly loved her, why did you break up with her every year? You don't love her at all. Is it here, Erick? Just one cut and not even the ER can save me, right? Erick grew angrier, but didn't dare provoke her further. I never lied to you. You've known from the start, it's just 1 month. So what's all this now? Zoe sobbed. But didn't you break the rule last year? Why not again this year? While she was distracted, Erick grabbed the knife. Lisa was already hurt last year. I can't let her down again. She's the one I'll marry. Zoe collapsed onto the ground, begging, just today, please. You said months with 31 days don't count. Just one more day, okay? A girl asking for just one more day. So little, yet so much. Erick's heart softened. He pursed his lips and nodded, as she watched Erick seriously cooking sweet and sour ribs. His broad shoulders and narrow waist moving with precision. Zoe bit her lip. Why Lisa? Why not me? How could a man this perfect not be mine? She didn't believe it. She was young, beautiful. She could steal anything, even someone else's man, especially when that man wasn't even that solidly taken. Seeing Erick's phone on the coffee table, Zoe decided it was time to make the old woman back off. During dinner, she clung to Erick, asking him to feed her. He refused, but after a few tears, he caved and gave in. Men cry, pout, threaten to die, and they always come crawling back. Zoe felt triumphant, though her face stayed pitiful. She begged Erick, let's watch the sunrise together. Just one last time. At the beach, soft sand burned underfoot. Waves crashed against rocks. The western sky blazed with sunset. Zoe leaned in and kissed him. I never got to take you to see the morning fog and glowing clouds. Such a shame. Let's do it next year, okay? Erick hesitated. Zoe offered something Lisa never did. Excitement, adrenaline, chaos. With her, he felt alive, unbound. This wasn't the road to marriage. This was freedom. Why couldn't a man have 2 wives? He suddenly recalled Nicole's warning, and Lisa's voice. Bet against us getting back together. Guaranteed win. Was that all she thought of him? That he was that unreliable? He was a kite. And no matter how far he drifted, he always found his way back to the string, to her. And this time, he was ready to marry the woman he'd loved for 10 years. Erick looked serious. After I'm married, I'll stay loyal. This ends here. There'll be no next year. No year after. Zoe pouted. Pretended she didn't care. Alicia's name popped up on his screen. Zoe scoffed. She's getting smarter, faking illness now to steal your attention. Erick felt reassured. Lisa was still mad, yes, but it also meant she still cared. Blocking him was just a tantrum. Tomorrow, he'd go home, apologize, make it right. Thinking of Lisa, he was utterly distracted during the sunrise. As the crimson sun broke the sea's edge and rose into the sky, Erick turned and left. He didn't even say goodbye to Zoe. No matter how she stomped or whined, he didn't look back. All he could think of was rushing home. He didn't need a grand gesture anymore. He just wanted to tell Lisa. 6 months ago, he had hired a top designer. The wedding dress and ring were almost done. Chapter 7. The seasonal flowers I had personally planted inside the wooden fence had all been uprooted, thrown to the side of the road, withered and rotting. Workers were hauling out every piece of furniture, cabinets, sofas, carpets, large and small. One of them tripped. The vintage French sideboard that Erick and I had spent 3 days finding at the antique market slammed to the ground, chipping a corner. Erick's brows snapped together. How can you be so careless? The worker was confused. These are all to be thrown away. And besides, it's not yours. Why are you so worked up? This is my house. I think you've got it backwards. A voice came from the doorway. I bought this house 2 days ago from a lady. The ownership transfer is done. All the paperwork says nothing about a second owner. Realization hit Erick like a brick. He staggered forward and dashed into the house. Most of the furnishings had already been cleared. Renovation crews were moving in. In just 1 day, not a single trace of what had once been our love nest remained. He frantically snatched a bedside cabinet that was about to be thrown out. From underneath it, he pulled out a hospital registration slip. Lisa, obstetrics. His hands began to tremble uncontrollably. Where is she? The new owner, unaware of the drama, asked. Wait, is this house under dispute? Should I be calling a lawyer? No. Erick stumbled away. He thought back to years ago. When we were still renting, I always said I wanted us to buy a house together. He thought I was hinting at marriage and got angry. After so many arguments, I gave up and bought one on my own. Ironically, he lived in it more comfortably than anyone. So now, I had 100% of the rights. And he didn't even have the right to ask. He regretted it. Zoe chased after him. Erick, she's clearly found someone new. She doesn't want you anymore. Look at me instead. With red eyes, Erick shoved her away. Get lost. It's all your fault. She was still here yesterday. If not for you, she wouldn't be hurt, wouldn't have left. Zoe fell to the ground, her tailbone aching into her back. But still, Erick didn't even spare her a glance. When Nicole called me, I had just been discharged. The fetus was too small. It stopped developing on its own. Technically, it wasn't even a miscarriage. After my blood sugar stabilized, the doctor urged me to leave the hospital. You really broke up with Erick? Nicole didn't believe it. No way. You love him so much. I cut her off. Did you bet on us not getting back together? Of course. I bet 1,000, damn it. Should have gone all in. 1 to 100 odds. She gritted her teeth at the missed fortune. I smiled. If you still consider me a friend, let's be friends again. If not, just delete me. Nicole was stunned. You're really done with him? No turning back? Absolutely not. I chuckled. If you still like him, go for it. Even I was surprised at how easily the words came out. Seems I had truly let go. Nicole shuddered. Ugh, a trash man like that? Please, I'd rather date a rock. You better hope I find someone decent. I paused. It took someone a month to see him for what he was. And I took 10 years. I was too naive. Never knew how to play his games. Oliver called. I declined. He was Erick's lapdog. No doubt calling to persuade me to return. Then a new number called. I picked up. Oliver's voice howled from the other end. Sister-in-law. Please come back. Erick's completely lost it. I hung up instantly. Blocked. Enabled full call rejection. Chapter 8. I went back to my hometown to visit my parents. After recovering physically, I still decided to go out and explore the world. I wasn't even 30 yet. How could I let a man ruin me for life? When I humbly sought out my teacher, One of the top designers in the country. He couldn't hide his grin. You've been trapped in your own little city these past few years. Let's see if your skills have gotten rusty. I abandoned my old number. Got a new WeChat. No one from the past could contact me anymore. I followed my teacher to several shows. When he tried to push me into the spotlight, I declined. I didn't want Erick to find me, at least not yet. Nicole occasionally called to vent. Erick now drank himself senseless every night. Drunk, he'd harass all their mutual friends, asking where I was. Accusing them of hiding me. Asking how he had managed to lose me. Even Erick's parents called. Two well-educated seniors, now in their 60s, for the first time in their lives. Begging, Lisa, I know it's his fault, but he can't live without you. I apologize on his behalf. Please, come back and at least see him. I refused with silence. Without Erick, my life was filled with work, but 10 years of love doesn't fade easily. I still woke up from dreams with a wet pillow, even after Alicia set me up on a few meals with her brother. I'd dream of Erick, eyes red, accusing me of cheating. I suffered from insomnia for a long time. Even sleep streams made me more awake. I consulted AI for dream interpretation. Professor D said, "This symbolizes the end of your karmic bond with the dream figure." Karmic bond ended. With that in mind, I slowly walked out of the shadows. When Erick finally found me, I was on my third date with Noah. Noah was calm, quiet, and gentle, but always attentive. He took me to Western restaurants the first 2 times. This time, I insisted on buying him spicy crayfish. He looked shocked, almost adorable. I thought you didn't eat this kind of food. Actually, I had accidentally seen his notes when he went to the bathroom last time. Take Lisa to eat refined dishes she can enjoy gracefully. Talk more. Don't let the conversation die. Possible topics: weather, fashion, makeup, current events. Did he think I was some goddess who only drank dew and ate flower petals? All I'd eaten with him were boring salad plates. I giggled, eyes bright. He immediately realized I was hinting at my real taste. Looking down, he seemed a little defeated. I guess I'm just not good at dating girls. Then he took the bowl and silently began peeling shrimp. That's when Erick showed up. His punch came like lightning, but Noah narrowly dodged it, before the one being attacked could speak. The attacker, Erick, was already crying. Lisa, who is he? Why are you eating with him? Is this the reason you left me? 3 rapid-fire questions. I almost choked on my crayfish. Is this what being shameless and unaware looks like? We've already broken up. You have no right to care who I eat with. I finally looked him in the eye. After a few months, he had lost a lot of weight. Even the muscle he'd worked hard for had disappeared. Did things not go well with Zoe? You liked Zoe so much. Don't let her down. Suddenly, Erick hugged me tight. His voice trembled. Don't say things that break my heart. I've never liked anyone else. I only love you. For a second, I was confused. Every year you had to disappear for a month. Was that love? Breaking your own rules for Zoe, not love? Customizing a ring for her, not love? Watching the sunrise with her, still not love? Then what exactly does love mean to you? Noah pulled me out of his arms. He looked at Erick like he was trash. I warn you, coercing a woman is a crime. Erick threw another punch, and missed again. Who are you? What gives you the right to get close to her? She's my wife. Chapter 9. Noah kept dodging without fighting back. But in the chaos, he still took a punch to the corner of his mouth. He touched the fresh cut and his eyes filled with anger. That's enough. More and more people gathered to watch. Their gazes were full of malice and gossip. Suppressing my anger and humiliation, I said, Erick, I was never your wife. Not on the snowy mountain. Not on our anniversary. Not even when you put the ring I designed with my own hands on someone else's finger. So why are you calling me your wife now? Erick panicked, pulled out a ring, and tried to put it on my hand. I recognized the ring. It was the flagship model of a well-known brand this season. Ads were everywhere. Careless, ridiculous. I pulled my hand back, sneering. Do you remember what you once said about how you'd propose? He stammered. I'm sorry, Lisa. The ring I ordered isn't ready yet. Wear this for now, and I'll replace it later. And the wedding dress, I helped design it myself. I know every inch of you. In that dress, you'll be the most beautiful bride. That line was borderline inappropriate. The onlookers were blunt. She's probably been passed around already. Is this a runaway bride situation? My face flushed red. Crash! Noah punched Erick hard to the ground. Tables and chairs fell with him. He tried to get up, twice, but failed. Watch your mouth. She waited 10 years for you and you wouldn't marry her. Now you're suddenly full of feelings after breaking up? Wasn't you the one who cheated? Ah. Zoe suddenly rushed in and pushed Noah hard. How dare you hit Erick? She threw herself over Erick and sobbed. Erick, you still care about her. But look at her, she's already found someone else. She never really loved you. She just wanted to emotionally blackmail you into marrying her. Erick closed his eyes in despair. Zoe's presence exposed everything. That galaxy ring sparkled brightly on her finger, making everything even more laughable. Erick grabbed Zoe's hand and yanked off the ring. It was my ring size anyway. So it came off easily. Zoe wasn't hurt. Otherwise, she'd blame me again. Lisa, I engraved the date inside. Just 1 month. I didn't propose to her. It was just a souvenir. I took the galaxy ring from his hand. Under his hopeful gaze, I threw it into the trash can. The fire in his eyes extinguished in an instant. Move on, Erick. I'm no longer where you left me. You made the rules of the game. You lose. You admit it. Don't make me look down on you. I took Noah's hand and walked away. Outside, the sun was shining. The kite string was never in anyone's hands. He was free. So was I. Erick refused to return to Rome City. He haunted all the places I might pass. I kept receiving gifts. All expensive. All ended up in the trash. The top designer's star dome was indeed more beautiful than mine. The wedding dress, extravagant, luxurious, covered in pearls, but with Noah by my side. Erick couldn't get close to me. Alicia once whispered to me, my brother was in the special forces. 10 Ericks tied together couldn't beat him. He never lays a hand on anyone. But for you, he broke that rule once. Eventually, Erick stopped appearing, and I finally exhaled in peace. Until Zoe suddenly called. Lisa, are you trying to drive me to death? Then let me show you how I die. And take the baby with me. Chapter 10. I held the phone in my hand, slightly dazed. Suddenly, the office became noisy. Someone's on the roof trying to jump. Looks like she's pregnant. Lisa, she's asking for you by name. Do you two have some love triangle or something? She's crying that you stole her man. Rumors spread faster than spring pollen. But they no longer troubled me. Her malice was no longer hidden. This time, she came at me, blade unsheathed. And I calmly sat back in my chair. Instructed my assistant to call the police and an ambulance. The girl hesitated. Lisa, aren't you going to go see her? What if she really? I turned the live stream toward her. Zoe was screaming on the rooftop, weeping like blood. But nowhere near the edge. She's performing, and not necessarily for me. If I go and she really jumps, then what? The girl walked away, confused. Erick arrived, thinner than ever, grabbing Zoe's wrist as they came down the stairs. Their wrists, almost the same size. Keep embarrassing yourself like this, and you'll never step foot into the Erick household. Zoe wasn't ready to end the show. She resisted wildly. Why are you here? To see Lisa, right? Well, she didn't come. You can't see clearly, so I'll help you. She doesn't care about you at all anymore. Maybe it was the struggle, or the emotional overload. Dark red blood began seeping down her pants leg, forming a small pool on the floor. Zoe's face froze in a twisted mix of smile and sobs. Then she collapsed. The live stream ended abruptly. I calmly packed my things and left the building. Noah was already waiting for me. Today was our engagement day. Last night, he asked me, how long will it take for me to surpass Erick and marry you? I said, marriage is too far, too painful. I don't want to walk that road again. He said, then don't walk. We'll fly in directly. I took his strong arm. We passed by Erick holding Zoe in his arms. Poor Zoe. She wanted love, but encountered a piece of trash. Later, Erick's parents called me, their voices full of shame and helpless guilt. Lisa, we're sorry. We've been too busy with students. We didn't know he treated you this way. How can we ever make it up to you? I declined. Loving Erick, waiting for Erick. It was all once what my heart wanted. Not loving him, letting him go, was also what my heart wanted now. I don't need compensation. My grand future and radiant life are the best compensation. Zoe disappeared after losing the baby. She didn't marry Erick. No one knew where she went. Nicole and the others never saw her again. Erick left for Africa with his camera. During an asthma attack, due to lack of medication, his life ended abruptly. Erick's parents signed a donation agreement, willing everything to me. I consulted a lawyer. Legally, I couldn't refuse. So when they pass someday, I'll donate it all. Noah and I got married. The happiest person was Alicia. She danced around like a monkey. If I'd known, I should have tied my brother to you years ago. The wedding ring was handcrafted by Noah. The dress, handpicked by him. The venue and ceremony, planned by him. He oversaw every detail. When I visited our new home's nursery, I cried. It looked exactly like the one in my dreams. I didn't suffer a bit for this marriage, yet it fit into every corner of my heart. This is just right.